Hey, hi, hello, internet boys and girls, cats and squirrels, and all the configurations of being. It's your girl Jazzy, aka Disney Dreamer 92, and guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, guys, I kind of wanted to have a more personal chat with you guys. And granted, anytime I vlog and like I do things on this channel, it's obviously it's personal. I'm usually talking from like life experience and things of that nature. I think this one's just a little bit more personal because while it's not something that it's not something that I haven't talked about before. Like, I've been pretty open and honest about this on this channel. It's just more, as I've said in previous videos, it's something that people don't always like talking about, and it's something that can be uncomfortable for people. Which, of course, like at this point, you guys can probably guess, like it does have to do with mental health. And the thing is like I've never had anybody like question or like or at least to my face be like, why are you so open about like your struggles with depression and all this other stuff? Because I don't think I really have anybody in my life that would do that. I mean, I have had people call into question the validity of my struggles and everything, like in along the sense of like, you're not praying enough, you're not trusting enough, you're, kicking a dead horse, insert thing here, because, a lot of people don't understand that things like depression, you don't just like flip a switch and it's gone. But today I just felt really compelled. Like, if you don't follow me on Instagram, I mean, I'm not really here to plug my thing. You don't have to follow me, but you could. I post cute pictures sometimes and inspirational stuff occasionally. I was really nervous because I posted something very very vulnerable, and again, like, it's not like I've never talked about like my mental health and like my struggles with self-harm and everything publicly. Like, I've done it on social media, like I've been very open about it, but I was still really, really nervous to post it because there's always like that level of like, like, how are people going to receive this, despite the fact that, again, I've talked about it before. But I just went to a place where, September's coming up, and September is, like, it's National Suicide Prevention Month, and it's like being aware of like mental illness and everything. And so I kind of wanted to post something to kind of get that started. I didn't want to wait until September to start having a conversation. Like, as you guys know, like, I'm very big about like there's so much stigma that surrounds mental illness and suicide and self-harm and all these other things that, like, as you guys have heard me say before, if you've watched my videos, like, I'm very big on like we need to have conversations about these things, because that's like step one in fighting stigma and like in finding cures and in getting people help, is like talking about it. Like, it's so important. So anyway, so I posted this thing on Instagram. Had to do it in like photo form because like originally I was gonna just post like a Troy Love in Her Arms is like little picture for their newest campaign for National Suicide Prevention Week, and then just have like a big caption. But for whatever reason, it wouldn't let me type out the entire thing. So what it ended up doing was I typed it out like in notes, kind of like that beauty guru thing that people say beauty gurus do. And I did that, and so I like screenshotted it. I took pictures, like screenshotted it, and I cut it up and I put it in pictures. And it was just an explanation. Like, it's not my entire story, but it is a significant part of my story because, 3 years ago, like, just to simplify kind of what I said, and I'm not going to repeat it all here, especially this time 3 years ago, I was in a very, very, very dark place mentally, and I was in a bad place. Like, I was at a place where, like, I had just found out, like, for the first time, like, and I talked about this in a video, I had gotten dismissed from school, which was, like, partially due to the fact that, like, depression kind of took over me, and, like, I was so overwhelmed with everything that, like, I just couldn't, I had trouble sleeping. There's just so much that went into why, like, I got dismissed from school. That happened, and, like, my mom, like, took a really big risk and, co-signing a loan so I could go to school, and, like, so my mom, granted, it didn't last long. Like, my mom's like an amazing, like, loving, like, forgiving person, but, like, at the time I was like, my mom hates me, like, I've ruined her life, I've ruined my life. And I was just so overwhelmed. I was so depressed, and like I was having like not identity issues, but like I just felt so out of place everywhere. Like I didn't feel like I fit in. I didn't feel like I was a part of any group. Like I always felt like I was an outsider in my body, in my mind, in my friend group, in my church. And the church one was really, really hard because like my church family, like I loved them. And it's not like, and I don't want anyone to misconstrue anything that I've said or even in my posts. I talked about the church thing. Like I still have so much love for those people. I was really angry for a long time. Like not like necessarily maybe at like individual people, but I was very angry at the church. I was very angry at God for a long time. Because like because the reality was I was just in a community with people that didn't necessarily understand like depression and didn't understand like what mental illness was really like. Like a lot of people when they think about depression, like I mean of course like you would just have the people that are like, oh, it's just that you're sad, even though it's so much more than that. Like people think like depression's this thing that you can like easily like overcome. And I mean depression, like even like not even just generalizing, like mental illness, like there is treatment options out there. There are ways to make it better. Excuse me guys. But people don't understand that it's not like, I like to use the analogy of like it's not like a light switch. You can't just turn it on and off. And it's never been something that I've asked for. Like I didn't wake up in middle school and say, you know what, God, you know what would be good? Like I want to have this like debilitating like thing that's going to make me hate myself for years and like be unkind to myself. Please give it to me. I digress. I just think like being surrounded by people who didn't understand, and like the fact that like, you know, when I found this, and it's not even just with like necessarily just with them, but like when you're open and honest, like for the very first time you open up to people and you tell them like this is what I've struggled with, this is what I've been through, you know, they tend to think like it's inspirational and that it's brave, and it's like, oh, thank you for sharing, like, oh. But then, you know, because again, like depression's not something that goes away overnight or goes away when you talk about it once. Like when it comes back, like over time, people that don't understand how depression works, they kind of get to that place where it's like, oh, this shit again. Pardon my language. But and I'm not calling out anybody individually. I'm not really saying that every single person in my church group thought that, because I don't think that's true, especially now that I am in a good mental place. But anyway, like, so I reached out for like some prayer for them, and the thing is I had people and God bless them, like they were like, yes, I'll pray for you, like I love you, which is great. The thing that like solidified everything and made everything really hard was the fact that like even though I had people that, you know, did the public thing of saying, yes, I'll pray for you, not a single person actually reached out to me to make sure I was okay. And again, being in a bad place, like that just kind of solidified what my like depression was screaming at me, which was that no one cared. And I was, again, like I was in a really, really bad place. Like I was at the point where like I was ready to find a way to take my life. Like I wrote a note, and like I still have it. Like it is a little triggering for me to go back and read, because it just brings up like memories and things I don't want to think about. But like, you know, just being so upset and like having it being littered with like, you know, anger and like me apologizing to the people that were going to have to deal with like the ramifications of my death. And like it was just hard. And I mean, what ended up saving me is and to this day, like especially now, like being like stronger in my faith than I was at the time, because at the time I had like pieced out from the church. I walked away. I honestly believe like it was God protecting me, because spoiler alert for those of you who don't know, I did get back into school and everything. I was still depressed, I was still overwhelmed, but I was trying to like mentally make words are hard, an effort, you know, to try and like stay alive and to like try and make something of my life. And but what would happen is like I didn't have a car at the time, so I'd have to walk to like the BART station till I could take BART to go to school. And you know, we have all these thoughts in our minds, like about 50,000 a day, and like most of mine were like my brain trying to think of ideas of like how I could kill myself. I'd be walking, you know, down the hill from my from my complex, and I'd be like, what if I just like stepped out in front of this car? Or even when I'm at BART, what would happen if I just walked out in front of the BART train? things like that. But every time I would think something like that, and I thought those kinds of things a lot, I would always have this like small, like little voice pop up in the back of my head that would like counter it. Basically, it'd be like, oh, you can't, you'd break your mother's heart, or oh, you can't leave Brittany with all the rent, or your roommates to have to clean up after you once you're gone. And it was just like little things like that, like things that you wouldn't think of, like not like huge things, not like, oh, I don't know. It was just like this little voice reminding me of like these small little things that were significant enough to make me think like, okay, yeah, maybe not today. And that's the gist of it. And like, I was just really nervous to post it because, again, like, even though I've talked about it, it is kind of hard sometimes to be vulnerable, especially to the internet. But sorry guys, I just ate a little bit earlier, so I'm like, ew. But that's the whole thing. It goes back to the fact that there is so much stigma, and there's so many people that like need to hear other people talk about it. And even in a way, like, I think it does a disservice to, like, would think it would do a disservice to me, like, if I didn't talk about it and I wasn't open about it. And it does a disservice to you if you don't talk about it, because these aren't just like issues that are polarizing and that like only certain people have to deal with. These are issues that like affect people of different skin colors, different religions, different gender identities, and it's things that like if we don't talk about them, they're never going to get better. Now the truth is of course, like, at this point, it's 2018, there's a lot of support out there, and there are a lot of people that are working towards like recovery and hope and help and everything. And again, like, I'm open about my mental health, and I know that there definitely are going to be people, like, whether they know me or not, that are going to see me be so open, and they're going to think, oh, she's crazy, or like, oh, what does she know? Just, things along those lines. But it's like, I'm being open and I'm being vulnerable for the people that maybe aren't ready to speak up, or for the people that just need to hear that, like, it gets better, and that there is hope and there is help out there. Because there are definitely people out there that need to hear that. So the thing is like, fine, maybe my openness might make somebody look at me differently, or their opinions of me might change. But if my message of the fact that, like, I've been there, and I know what it's like to hurt, and I know what it's like to want to stop existing, and I know what these deep, dark feelings look like and feel like if I could just encourage somebody to know that their story does not have to end, their story is not over, that they are important and they are loved, and there is a way to overcome this, and that someday you will wake up and you will be really happy that you chose to stay. Like, that's all that matters to me. I don't need this video to go viral. I don't need recognition. I just want the one person that watches this that needs to hear a message of hope. I hope it helps you, and I hope that you hear it loud and clear, and that you know your value, and you know that it does get better, and there is hope, and there is help. And I'm repeating myself, and I don't care. But yeah, guys, so I think that's where I'm gonna end it. You guys will get another video from me soon. I know that August kind of has been trash. I was doing really well, and then obviously I didn't make it to 30 videos in 30 days, which is okay, and I will post about it. I'll talk about it with you guys. But I love your faces so much, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Please, let's have a conversation in the comment section down below. I would love to chat with you guys. Be blessed, and remember your value, and remember that you are loved. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.